morning. Behind me is a zero-turn mower. It's made by White, which is a brand that's, I think, defunct now. There were, average mowers. It's a strong mower. I got it pretty cheap, but it has issues. It's been rode hard and put up wet. The motor is strong, but it doesn't want to start very easily. You have to put the choke on and then grind away at the starter for a long time until it finally starts. So that's probably fairly simple. But the big issue with it is it leaks oil like a sieve. There's at least one seal gone in the bottom of the motor. It's a Briggs & Stratton twin. But one of the transmissions, it uses motor oil in the hydrostatic drive. And I have to keep that topped up. If I start using it in the morning, there's a reservoir on the top of this one, and it says do not, you shouldn't see oil in the reservoir. It's only for when it gets hot. Well, I have to dump in, like 2 quarts just to keep enough oil in it so it keeps working. Anyways, and then you park it. It leaks all the time you're using it, and then when it's parked, it just creates a puddle underneath. For all that, it still drives strong. It's got power. It moves equally when you move the levers. I know I had another zero-turn mower where you move a lever and it barely turns. The other one would turn really well. Well, in this case, no, it works quite well. Anyway, so I've got it in here, and I'm going to tear it apart. And I'm sure the blades are all messed up. We checked the bearings on the mowing deck. And I've had the deck off before. I know it's a problem trying to get the deck off because it's not very easy to work against a spring. There's a take-up pulley in there to keep a belt tight. And there's just really no easy way to get that tension off to get the belt off so you can take the deck off. So I'm going to try to address that. But mainly I will be fixing the seals and then work on the carburetor. The levers that I moved before, this lever here and the one on the other side, are supposed to release the axle, but it doesn't. I don't know what's going on with that. Parking brake. Aha! Parking brake works. Okay, well, here's the belt, and it's in okay shape. It's obviously used, but that's not bad. It needs a good cleanup. All the bearings feel good. Might need to grease those bearings. I don't know if they're sealed bearings or not. But this thing here is the issue. That needs to have some way. It's a real strong spring there. I need to have some way to disengage this easier than it is now. It's just too hard. Well, this is as clean as I'm going to get it. I don't really care if it's really clean. I just have to take this pulley off. I can tell from when I was cleaning it, all the oil is coming out from underneath here. So I'm hoping I can just replace that seal without disassembling the whole thing. But here's an interesting part. See this? That's an oil filter. Now I've been right through the book. Replacement parts. There's an oil filter for the motor, but there's no filter listed in the book at all for this item. I've been right through the book. The only thing it says about the transmissions, okay, I found it here on page 6 of this book that I printed off, the owner's manual. Hydrostatic transmission. All zero-turn tractors are equipped with dual hydrostatic pumps and transaxles that are sealed and maintenance-free. The only thing that's different on my mower from the smaller ones, it's a 54-inch, not a 52, is that there's an expansion chamber underneath the seat, which I talked about earlier, but nothing about a filter. So I am going to see if I can get replacement filters. Why not? I've got it apart. So let's try to take this thing apart now. Take this nut off, see where that takes us. To keep this from turning, I'm just going to see if I can just use the belt like this. See if I can keep that from turning. Okay. Okay, what's happened here? This seal has gone bad. And what happened is, I don't know if you caught it in the earlier part of the video, but there was a cord wrapped around this shaft. What it's done is it's wrapped itself in there and destroyed the seal. That's, I'm hoping, all it takes. I can see there's a snap ring here. So I am going to look to see how hard it is just to take the snap ring, remove the seal, and find a replacement. I can move it. That's the lip seal from it. Just wore it out. The bearing's good and good, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh, what's this? That comes out. I'll be darned. I don't think I want to do that though. I went to town yesterday to look for the seal for this. This is an older machine, and I took the seal out of that. It had some numbers on it. The numbers on this weren't a part number. It was, the numbers in sequence are 40, 17, and what looks like a 53. They're not a part number. It's also not a standard seal. And when you go to places like Napa or O'Reilly's, even a lawnmower place, they're unable to look to seal up because the people who manufactured this, Hydrogear, don't publish the part number, I guess. And, well, I went online also to Hydrogear. I did get some oil filters, happily. Those are a common thing, oil filters. But the seal, I can't really proceed without that. I might end up returning and, I don't know, scrapping this thing if I can't find a seal. I'm sure I'll find something. I'll make something work. But anyways, I started thinking about everything on this is an Imperial or, SAE bolt. But the seal, I think, the numbers on it are actually millimeters. 40 millimeters is, about 1.5 inches and something. I wrote it down somewhere. It doesn't really matter. But the outside diameter of this, I've measured, is actually 40 millimeters. The part that broke out, this is what goes around the shaft, that's 17 millimeters. Now the thickness doesn't equate to 5.3 millimeters, because 5.3 is less than a quarter, and this is more than a quarter. 6.6 millimeters. Now the seal that they list, Hydrogear, list on their website, they have a 7. So they've got a 40, 17 by 7. And that would probably work. However, I've gone to a lawnmower place, they sell Cub Cadet. In the book, I didn't show it, but the book actually mentions if you have trouble finding parts for this, go to your Cub Cadet dealer. Well, they sell Cub Cadet there in town. He still had trouble finding anything to do with this because it's listed as an assembly, not as various pieces. They don't give it an exploded diagram. However, they're going to make a call on tomorrow, and they're going to actually see if the factory can recommend or tell us which seal this one should be. If not, I think I have a pretty good idea how to purchase a seal. It's going to be in millimeters, 40 diameter, outside diameter, 17 is the inside diameter, and 7 millimeters for the thickness. Anyways, today it's just a holding pattern. Can't do nothing more with this today. But what I do have is a motor over there that's also leaking oil. So I have to build a stand for that so that it doesn't tip over because the shaft sticks out the bottom. I have to build a little kind of a mount to hold it so that I can work on it on the table over here instead of over a bucket or from a crane. See how we go? I've got this Briggs & Stratton motor cleaned up pretty well, I think. At least good enough now to start looking for the leaks. Down here, it looks as though it's been leaking pretty badly up in this area on both sides. Here. So I am going to tip it on its side, because I've noticed when I tip it on its side, it tends to leak somewhere up in here, and it doesn't make sense. It should be in here where the head is. This is all one piece. The cylinder is part of the crankcase casting. So, and I don't really think it's coming from the shaft seal down here either. Didn't look that bad in there. So I don't know where it's coming from. I doubt it was spraying up from the hydraulic pumps. Well, there's your problem. Huh. It's leaking out of the out of the join there between the crankcase and the engine casting. What in the world? Is there no gasket in there? Is there supposed to be a gasket in there? That is the weirdest thing. Now how it got over to this area, I don't know. Maybe it was sprayed up there. Air comes down from the top on the fan shroud. So maybe it was just, who knows. Fan blades causing air turbulence, blowing it up in there, and it's baking on. Anyways, it's obviously leaking oil right there. And that has everything to do with how much oil's in the crankcase, I guess, because there's where the dipstick is. And that's where the correct oil level is between those two dots. It's a couple of days later. I've been through the effort of trying to find parts, going online to find a breakdown of this motor. There are serial numbers on the motor, right there on top of that valve cover. A model number, a type, and a code. You need all of those to find any information or get details on this. So I ordered an oil filter and a gasket and a seal on the bottom, because I'm going to have to take that crankcase off. And they came in today, so we're going to go pick those up and continue from there.